Good day, everyone. Let's have a look at the news today. What's topical? What are people talking about? What's hit the headlines? We're on the BBC website, BBC News. No particular reason other than I do like the BBC website. It's easily laid out. It's easy to navigate. I just like it. And I got a good selection. How much of it is true or genuine or authentic or not? Who knows? They're all as bad as each other, aren't they? But first of all, congratulations to Lando Norris for winning his first World Championship Formula One. I Formula One used to be the only sport I was interested in. It was great. I used to watch every race until Abu Dhabi. That dodgy goings on in Abu Dhabi when they flouted the rules and gave the win to Verstappen. Um, no disrespect to Verstappen. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his doing. He just took advantage of the situation. That should never have happened. A situation that should never have happened. I don't know why they did that, because I said there's no need to do that. Verstappen has enough talent that he can win. I think he's won 5 now. I'm not entirely sure. I think he's won 4 and had one handed to him. And there was no need to it. He had the talent to be able to win on his own, which he has 4 times since. There was no need to have handed him tag. The only way you would do that is to stop Hamilton winning it, which is clearly what they did. Now, I don't go down the lines of, it was a racist thing. They didn't want a black driver beating the record. I'm not convinced it was anything to do with that at all. I think it was purely because they didn't want somebody else taking the most world championship titles. So, well done to Lando. What else we got going on? This Ukraine still going on. Zelensky about to arrive at Downing Street for talks on Ukraine peace plan. Do we know, as normal people that are not involved with this, do we know what the outcome is going to be of this? The thing is, right, nobody wants this war. Russia started it. For whatever reasons they started it, they initiated it, they carried it out, they invaded another country. There's no getting around that. But at some point, somebody's going to have to lose out. And the trouble with wars is nobody wants to be seen the loser. Zelensky doesn't want to give up. He doesn't want to give up ground, and rightly so. Putin can't be seen as losing after all the millions of men that have got killed over the last couple of years. He just can't be seen. Russia as a whole can't be seen to lose this. So if they're going to now go for peace, somebody somewhere has to say, okay, then we've got to give up this bit or we've got to give up that bit. And you have to make concessions to the other side. It's the only way you're going to stop it. The decision you've got is, no, we don't want to give up any of our land because it's our land. However, how many more people do we have to let die? I don't know what the answer is to that. I'm not an expert in this sort of stuff, but I mean, where'd you go from here? Got to make, if you want peace, if you want to stop the war, you've got to make concessions to each other. Otherwise, you don't get anywhere. Zelensky to visit Rome in the coming days. Part of ongoing talks about the future of the war, according to the press release from the Italian government. Yes, he's doing the rounds, and he does seem to do that. Russia keen to understand the results of Ukraine-US talks. An uncertainty continues over what specific proposals are being discussed, not dismissed. Well, they're probably being dismissed on the ongoing Ukraine settlement talks. This is the thing. I think a lot of this is stalling on the Russian side as well. I'm not convinced they actually want peace. I think they're engaging in it, in the talks, just to say, look, we're being part of this. We're doing our best. We're trying to be involved in peace talks. I don't know what the answer is to that. Let's go back to the homepage. Joey Barton given a suspended jail sentence. Oh, let's have a look then. Judges sent his comments. Andrew Manari QC, where the boundaries lie. Robust debate, satire, mockery, and even crude language may fall within permissible free speech, but when posts deliberately target individuals with vilifying comparisons to serial killers and false insinuations of paedophilia designed to humiliate and distress, they forfeit their protection. As the jury concluded, let me just highlight that so you can see what I'm reading. Your offences exemplify behaviour that is beyond this limit. amounting to a sustained campaign of online abuse that was not mere commentary, but targeted, extreme, and deliberately harmful. Here's my problem with this, right? I've watched Joe Rogan say, oh, yeah, people get arrested in Britain and put in prison for saying things on social media. And yeah, that does sound a bit harsh, but where do you draw the line? I mean, as Barton says himself, well, it's only banter. It's a bit rough and ready. It's crude banter. But when you're saying things like he's saying, it's like, well, you've got to stop the guy somewhere. I mean, it's getting offensive. I'm not entirely sure that there false insinuations of, I won't say the word because of YouTube guidelines and things and algorithms, called him a bike nonce. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure that he meant. I don't believe that he meant he was an actual how we would understand the word nonce. I think he was just calling him names basically. Even though it's got to be said, I don't like Joey Barton. I think he's a chopsy idiot that seems to think he can say anything he likes to anybody and get away with it. A bit like that football commentator that I can't remember the name of now. He's a complete bellend as well. Details about restraining orders handed to Joey Barton. Under the terms of the restraining orders handed down by the judge, Joey Barton's been told that for the next 2 years, he cannot publish any reference to any Aluko, Lucy Ward, or Jeremy Vine on any social media platform or broadcast medium. All three of Joey Barton's victims talked about the torrent of abuse they faced on X, as his followers picked up on his grossly offensive commentary. Yeah, you see, this is the thing here. Jeremy Vine said he feared for his safety after Barton told his followers to call 999 if they saw him near a primary school, suggesting, oh, actually then, I take back what I said earlier, because I wasn't aware of that. I just thought he was calling him names. Obviously, he was, according to this on the screen here, saying that he was suggesting he was a pedo and call the police if they saw him near primary school. See? That's what happens when you're not up to date on the news. What a useless channel this is. So anyway, yeah, I didn't realize that was the case. Although he says it was a joke that got out of hand. I never meant to hurt anyone. That's bollocks. Yes, he did. He absolutely meant to hurt everybody. That's why he said such hurty words. So how much? Right. Judge tells Barton only time will tell if he can change. He was convinced the custodial threshold has been crossed in this case. He was prepared to suspend those jail terms. Yeah, how long did he give him then? He got to pay the prosecution's costs of 23.5 grand. Sentenced Barton up to 6 months in custody, suspended for 18 months for the 6 grossly offensive social media posts. Judge says maximum sentence could have been 2 years in prison. However, there's no definitive Crown Court guidelines for these kind of offences. 2 of the offences are racially aggravated, and the severity of the punishments would be adjusted accordingly. See, free speech is one thing, right? But there are actions. There are consequences to your actions. Now, if I bump into you in the street, free speech says, "Oi, fatty, you're a bell end," and I should be able to say that. But then there are consequences to that. You're likely to punch me in the face. And it's like, well, what did you expect would happen? I'm not condoning that, but I mean, what would you expect would happen if you just insult? There are consequences, and there has to be consequences. Right, let's have a look. Let's go back to the homepage, see if there's anything else we need to talk about. Golden Globes. Oh, look at this. Royal Navy unveils new Atlantic strategy, right, to counter the Russian threat. When I first saw this picture this morning, I thought, God, what sort of crane is lifting that submarine? I genuinely thought, from the perspective that we're looking at in this picture, that it was a full-size submarine. And I thought, those poor sailors, they've all fallen down the front of the submarine while it's getting chucked about in the air. Well, it turns out it wasn't. It's an SG-1 Fathom. It's like a little torpedo sort of thing that wanders off into the sea, uses its sensors, gathers information. So they're sending off that into the Atlantic. Oh, in the dark waters off the west coast of Scotland, a slender submarine glider, like a torpedo with wings, slips under the surface and quickly disappears off into the murk. That's the first chapter of a novel, isn't it? That's a spy novel. The glider patrols through the depths of the ocean, monitoring and listening for adversaries that may be in the area, says Fathom's program manager, Katie Rain. So the idea is to pick up Russian submarines and stuff, detect them, keep an eye on them Ruskies, see what they're doing. Yeah, good idea. I've always said, and I don't really understand this crazy paranoia about Russia. I can't see that they would attack any NATO country. I don't see that there's any benefit to them. We know the ground troops couldn't do it. Ground troops couldn't manage a war. They struggled against Ukraine for years. Poland are itching to get into the fight. They're dying to get in, and I think Poland could take out Russia on its own. The problem is, of course, it's always nukes, isn't it? Nukes is always a problem. As soon as you start bringing nukes into the game, millions will die. Oh, look, there they are on the back of a. They're tiny now. When you look at that, they're tiny. They don't look like the giant submarine we saw in the first picture. But yeah, nukes is always a problem. I don't think Russia. They know they haven't got the capability to fight other countries, so I just don't see that they would. They're just throwing their weight about a lot at the moment because they have to. Look at this. Japan is facing a dementia crisis, right? Can technology help? A carer robot, that is. Now, I don't know if this person is asleep or just resting or having a fit or something. I mean, it's a dementia crisis. Can you imagine you've passed out, you wake up to this monstrosity looking over you? Jesus Christ, that's horrifying. That is horrifying to see that monstrous thing just looking over you. It looks like something out of the Terminator. I'd be panicking if I saw that thing. Even though you would probably know why it was there in the first place, if you got dementia, you probably wouldn't be aware of what's going on at the time, would you? More than 18,000 older people living with dementia left their homes and went missing in Japan last year. Almost 500 were later found dead. Police say cases may have doubled since 2012. Wow. Robot caregivers and AI. Future AI Gate uses AI to analyze posture and walking positions, walking patterns, picking up early signs of dementia. Shuffling while walking, slower turns or difficulty standing, generating skeletal outlines clinicians can review during shuffling while walking, slower turns, difficulty standing, that's just drunk. If doctors can use motion capture data, they can intervene earlier and help people remain active for longer. It's a good thing, and it affects a lot of people. So it's a good thing that they're doing a lot of research into this, because that's a horrifying figure. When we go back up to that, more than 18,000 older people living with dementia in Japan left their homes and went missing. That's a lot. But I'll go back to saying what I said. You can imagine we'll all have robots eventually, but to see this monstrosity standing over you, it's enough to kill you off anyway. Anyway, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep a lookout for tomorrow's video.